The human stood in the center of the arena, bleeding from at least 4 places I could count, and yet, she was smiling. Not the polite smile of diplomatic greeting, not the nervous smile of fear. No, this was the smile of someone who had decided the universe was about to get a lot more interesting for everyone except her enemies. My name is Vorkith, Senior Tactical Analyst for the Galactic Concordance, and I have spent 300 cycles studying warfare across 47 star systems. I thought I had seen everything. I was wrong. The girl, if you could call someone so clearly capable of murder a girl, went by the name Mira Kane. 23 solar cycles old according to her documentation, though humans measured time strangely. She had wandered into the Freeport station of Helix 9 looking for work, any work, and had somehow ended up in the middle of the Crimson Auction, the most exclusive black market event in this quadrant. How? Well, that is where this story gets complicated. The Crimson Auction was not the kind of place you simply stumbled into. It was invitation only, heavily guarded, and protected by 3 different criminal syndicates who had agreed, for once in their miserable existences, not to kill each other until after the merchandise changed hands. The main attraction this cycle was a weapon, ancient beyond measure, supposedly forged in the heart of a dying star by a civilization that had turned themselves into pure energy to escape their mortality. Typical pre-ascension nonsense, but the sword was real enough. The Blade of Torn Skies, they called it. Dramatic. Humans would have loved the name. Whoever held the blade could supposedly cut through the fabric of reality itself, open portals, sever dimensional barriers, slice through any known material in the galaxy like it was barely there at all. Naturally, every warlord, crime boss, and would-be conqueror wanted it. The bidding had reached numbers that would bankrupt small planetary governments. Then Mira Kane had walked in through the service entrance, covered in kitchen grease, holding a broken mop handle. I was monitoring the security feeds, making notes for my report on criminal organizational structures. The look on everyone's faces when this random human appeared behind the auction podium was worth recording for posterity. The auctioneer, of relics named Shax, who had personally killed over 300 beings in his career, had actually dropped his gavel. "Excuse me," Mira had said, her translator rendering her words in perfect standard concordance. "Is this where the kitchen is? I was hired to wash dishes and I think I took a wrong turn." Silence. Complete silence. 200 of the most dangerous criminals in known space just staring at this tiny human holding cleaning equipment. Then, someone laughed. Big mistake. The laugh came from Torvik the Flayer, a Grundesh mercenary who had earned his name by literally removing the skin from his victims while they still lived. He thought the situation was hilarious. He was still laughing when Shax gave the order. "Kill the girl. Take the sword." See, in the chaos of Mira's entrance, someone had noticed that the Blade of Torn Skies, which had been hovering in its stasis field above the auction block, had moved, just slightly. Just enough to angle toward the human. Ancient weapons were funny things. Sentient, some said. Choosy, said others. The blade had reportedly rejected 16 previous wielders, incinerating 3 of them instantly and driving 2 more completely insane. But it was leaning toward the dishwasher girl like a dog greeting its owner. 4 assassins moved at once. Carathian shadow dancers, the best killers money could buy, each one capable of moving faster than most species could perceive. They were elegant death, trained from birth, enhanced with the finest military-grade augmentations. Mira hit the first one with her mop handle. Just swung it, hard, caught him right across the mandibles. The crack echoed through the auction hall. The shadow dancer went down like gravity had suddenly remembered he existed. The second one got a boot to what I assumed were reproductive organs, though with Carathians it was hard to tell. He made a sound I did not know Carathians could make. The third one actually managed to get a blade out. A nice curved thing that hummed with molecular disruption technology. Mira caught his wrist, twisted, and somehow, through a combination of leverage and what appeared to be pure spite, threw him into the 4th assassin. They both crashed into a display case containing cursed artifacts from the Twilight Dynasty. The explosion was impressive. "So," Mira said, brushing dust off her stained uniform, "still looking for the kitchen." That was when the sword moved again. This time, it broke through its stasis field, which should have been impossible. The field was rated to contain a small nuclear detonation. The blade simply passed through it like the field was not there, floated through the air, and settled gently into Mira's hand. The moment her fingers closed around the grip, reality hiccuped. I do not have a better word for it. The air fractured into geometric patterns. Colors that did not exist in normal space bled through, and every weapon in the hall, from plasma rifles to ancient cursed daggers, suddenly looked very interested in pointing somewhere else. Mira blinked, looked at the sword, looked at the 200 criminals who were now very intently not looking at her. Huh, she said. This is nice. Good balance. Is this mine now? I feel like this might be mine now. Shax had not become the most feared auctioneer in the galaxy by being stupid. He could read a situation. He smiled, all 4 rows of teeth showing. Honored customer, he said smoothly. It appears the blade has made its selection. Naturally, there is the small matter of payment. I have 17 credits, Mira said, and half a sandwich. It is got. Mustard. The explosion of laughter this time was different. Nervous. Edged with violence. Torvik the Flayer stood up from his seat, all 3 meters of scarred muscle and bad decisions. The girl dies, he announced. The sword becomes property of whoever takes it from her corpse. Standard salvage rights. 50 weapons powered up at once. The sound was like thunder made of bad intentions. Mira sighed. You know, I really just wanted to wash some dishes, make some credits, maybe see a space station. But sure, let us do this instead. This is fine. She held the sword up, examining it. The blade was beautiful, I had to admit. It seemed to be made of starlight and bad dreams, shifting between solid and not, reflecting things that were not in the room. So, Mira said conversationally, as people started advancing on her, does anyone want to reconsider? Maybe talk about this? No? Okay then. The first shot came from a plasma rifle, military grade, capable of melting through starship hull plating. Mira moved the sword, just a tiny movement, and the plasma bolt split in half, each piece curving around her and hitting the ceiling. Interesting, she muttered. 12 more weapons fired at once, particle beams, kinetic rounds, an actual rocket launcher. Someone had brought a rocket launcher to an auction. Mira spun, and the sword sang. Not metaphorically, it actually sang. A sound like crystal breaking and stars being born, and the universe taking a deep breath. Every projectile stopped mid-air, frozen in bubbles of fractured space-time, then fell harmlessly to the ground. Okay, Mira said, her smile getting wider. Now I am starting to like this sword. That was when things got truly chaotic. Half the room tried to kill her, and the other half tried to escape. Torvik the Flayer charged with a vibro axe that could split molecules. Mira met his charge, sword raised, and when the weapons met, reality broke. The arena, you see, was on Helix 9, a station built inside a hollowed asteroid. Very sturdy, very secure, designed to withstand capital ship weapons. The clash between the blade of torn skies and a vibro axe opened a hole in dimensional space about 3 meters wide. Through it, I could see another place. Somewhere with purple skies and floating mountains and what looked like dragons made of mathematics. Torvik, the Flayer, fell through the hole, still swinging. The hole closed. Silence again. Longer this time. Did I just kill him? Mira asked. Or send him somewhere? I honestly cannot tell. Is he dead, or is he just having a really weird day somewhere else? Nobody answered. Mostly because everyone was running. Turns out, dimensional holes trump greed and bloodlust every time. Except they could not run. Shax had sealed the arena when the fighting started. Standard procedure. Prevent anyone from leaving until the transaction was complete. Smart in normal circumstances. Spectacularly stupid when someone was tearing holes in reality. I am leaving now, Mira announced to the few dozen criminals who had not tried to run. Anyone who wants to stop me should line up in an orderly fashion, so I can disappoint you efficiently. 3 brave stupid souls charged her. 1 with poison-tipped blades. 1 with energy gauntlets. 1 with what appeared to be tentacles. I am still not sure what species that last one was. Mira did not even use the sword. She ducked under the blade, swept the legs out from the gauntlet user, and grabbed a tentacle. Then she swung, using the tentacle being as a weapon to hit the other 2 attackers. I grew up with 4 brothers, she said, slightly out of breath. You all fight like my brothers. except they were better at it. That was when the honey badger arrived. Now, you might not know what a honey badger is. Most of the galaxy does not. It is a creature from Earth, small, compact, with a reputation for being, as humans say, absolutely unhinged. They fight animals 10 times their size. They eat venomous snakes for breakfast. They have been documented breaking into secured facilities just to cause problems. Mira had one as a pet. She called him Jasper. Jasper was not supposed to be on Helix 9. Pets were forbidden on the station. But Jasper was a honey badger, which meant forbidden was just another word for challenge accepted. The small Earth creature burst through an air vent, assessed the situation with his tiny black eyes, and decided that everyone in the arena except Mira needed to be bitten. What followed was carnage. Adorable, furry carnage, but carnage nonetheless. Jasper went for ankles, wrists, anything exposed. He was fast, vicious, and completely without fear or mercy. A Tarkonian warrior, famous for his combat prowess, screamed like a juvenile when Jasper latched onto his leg. An assassin tried to shoot the creature, and somehow shot himself instead. I am still not sure how that happened. Mira just stood there, sword in hand, watching her pet destroy what remained of the criminal underworld's self-respect. "Jasper," she called out. "Stop terrorizing the nice criminals. We need to go." The honey badger looked at her, made a sound that I can only describe as dismissive, and bit one more person for good measure before scampering over to Mira and climbing onto her shoulder. "Good boy," she said, scratching behind his ears. "Did you make friends? I bet you made lots of friends." Shax, from his position behind the reinforced podium, cleared his throat. "The security systems are controlled from my position. I can open the doors for you. In exchange, perhaps you could leave without destroying anything else?" "Deal," Mira said cheerfully. "See? Negotiations. We can all be civilized." She started walking toward the exit. Nobody stopped her. Partly because they were terrified, partly because half of them were nursing honey badger wounds, and partly because the sword was still glowing with barely contained dimensional energy. Just before she reached the door, she turned around. "Oh, one more thing. If anyone tries to follow me, or put a bounty on me, or generally make my life difficult, I will come back. And next time, I will bring Jasper's friends. He has got 3 brothers." The door opened. She walked through it, sword in hand, honey badger on shoulder, humming what sounded like an Earth song about not worrying. I immediately began writing my report. This human, this Mira Kane, had just walked into the most secure criminal gathering in the sector, bonded with an ancient reality-warping weapon, fought off dozens of trained killers, and left with a honey badger having caused more psychological damage than 3 fleet actions. Humans were terrifying. But perhaps more importantly, they were unpredictable in ways that could not be calculated or prepared for. The next day, I received intelligence that Mira had found the kitchen. She was currently working as a dishwasher in a restaurant, 3 levels down from the arena. The sword was leaning against the wall next to the sink. Jasper was sleeping in a dish rack. She was humming the same song. Human file Mira Kane updated. Threat level catastrophic. Approach with extreme caution. Do not under any circumstances attempt to confiscate sword. Do not threaten honey badger. But this was not the end of the story. Not even close. Because 2 days after the auction, someone very stupid decided they wanted that sword. And they came with an army. The army arrived on a Tuesday. Humans had infected the station with their calendar system, and now everyone measured time in their bizarre 7-day cycles. I was having breakfast, a nice bowl of nutrient paste, when the alarm started screaming. 16 warships. Actual warships, not the usual smuggler vessels or modified freighters that typically docked at Helix 9. These were Caldrith Empire vessels, each one capable of reducing a small moon to rubble. They surrounded the station like predators circling wounded prey. The communication came through on all channels. A face appeared on every screen, every monitor, every personal device. Commander Thrace Vulcan, Supreme Military Executor of the Caldrith Third Fleet. His species looked like someone had crossed a shark with a bad attitude and given it opposable thumbs. Citizens of Helix 9. His voice boomed through the station. We have come for the blade of torn skies. Surrender the weapon and the human who possesses it within 1 standard hour, or we will board the station and take them by force. Resistance will result in total annihilation. This is your only warning. The screen went dark. Panic. Immediate, complete, beautiful panic. People were running, screaming, trying to find escape pods that did not exist because Helix 9 was a criminal haven, and escape pods were just invitations for people to leave without paying their debts. I ran toward the restaurant where Mira worked. Not because I wanted to help, understand, but because I needed to observe. For my report. Purely professional reasons. The restaurant was called the Rusty Comet, which was generous considering it mostly served food that tasted like recycled boot leather. Mira was at the sink, elbow deep in soapy water, still wearing her stained uniform. The sword was exactly where I had last seen it, leaning against the wall. Jasper was awake now, sitting on the counter, eating what appeared to be a protein bar he had stolen from somewhere. "Did you hear the announcement?" I asked, bursting through the door. Mira looked up, smiled. "Oh hey, Vorkith, right? You are that analyst guy who has been following me around with the recording equipment. Want some coffee? It is terrible, but it is hot. There is an entire fleet surrounding the station." I said. "They are coming for you, for the sword." "Yeah, I figured that might happen." She went back to washing dishes. Actually washing dishes. While a military fleet prepared to storm the station. "You figured it might happen," I repeated slowly. "And your plan is what exactly? Continue washing dishes until they arrive?" "Pretty much." She scrubbed at a particularly stubborn stain on a plate. "Look, I have had this sword for 2 days now. In that time, 17 different groups have tried to kill me. 3 assassins have attempted poisoning, which did not work because Jasper ate my food first, and he is immune to literally everything apparently. And someone left a bomb in my quarters." "A bomb? Who does that?" "People who want a reality-warping weapon," I suggested. "Right. But here is the thing." She put the plate down, dried her hands. "Every single time someone came after me, the sword handled it. Not me. The sword. Yesterday, some Vrelic bounty hunter tried to shoot me in the back. The sword opened a tiny portal and redirected the shot back at him. He is fine, mostly, but his pride is definitely injured. So your strategy is to let the sword defend you against an entire military fleet. My strategy is to finish my shift, collect my paycheck, and hopefully not die." She picked up another plate. "The sword can do whatever it wants. We have an understanding. I carry it around, I do not try to use it to conquer anything or commit war crimes, and it keeps me alive." "Good deal, really." Jasper made a chittering sound that might have been agreement or might have been a warning. With honey badgers, it was impossible to tell. The hour passed quickly. I spent it documenting everything, taking readings from the sword, which was emitting energy signatures that made my equipment give up and display error messages. Mira spent it finishing the lunch dishes and making herself a sandwich. When the Kaldrith soldiers came, they came hard and fast, boarding pods attached to the station hull like metallic parasites. Cutting torches burned through reinforced doors. Within minutes, the station was crawling with soldiers in powered armor, carrying weapons designed to kill things much larger and more dangerous than humans. They swept through 3 levels before reaching the Rusty Comet. I heard them coming, the heavy thud of boots, the mechanical whir of armor servos. 20 soldiers, full combat loadout, led by a captain whose armor had more kill markings than I could count. They burst through the door, weapons raised, ready for war. Mira was eating her sandwich. "Mira Kane," the captain announced, his voice amplified by his helmet speakers. "By order of Commander Vulcan, you are to surrender the Blade of Torn Skies immediately. Compliance will result in your swift execution. Resistance will result in your slow execution. Choose wisely." Mira chewed thoughtfully, swallowed. "Can I finish my sandwich first? I mean, if I am going to die anyway, seems only fair I get to finish lunch." The captain's weapon shifted slightly. "You have 10 seconds. Cool." She took another bite. Jasper, meanwhile, had climbed down from the counter and was sniffing around the soldiers' feet. One of them tried to kick the honey badger away. Big mistake. Enormous mistake. Possibly the last mistake of his military career. Jasper moved like lightning, covered in fur and rage. He was up the soldier's leg, inside the armor somehow, and the screaming started. The soldier thrashed, trying to remove his armor plating, while Jasper did whatever honey badgers do when offended. Other soldiers moved to help, which was when Jasper emerged from a gap in the armor and launched himself at the next nearest target. Chaos. Pure chaos. 20 elite soldiers, trained for combat across 100 worlds, defeated by one small earth mammal who weighed maybe 15 kilograms. Jasper, Mira called out calmly. Not yet. Let them finish their speech first. It is only polite. The honey badger paused, dangling from one soldier's helmet, and made an annoyed sound before dropping to the floor and scampering back to Mira. The captain had not moved. His weapon was still pointed at Mira, though his stance had become noticeably less confident. Last chance, he said. The sword. Now. Mira sighed, put down her sandwich. You know what the problem is with you military types? No imagination. You see a weapon, you think grab the weapon. You see a target, you think shoot the target. But you never stop to think about whether the target wants to be shot, or whether the weapon wants to be grabbed. She stood up, walked over to the sword. It was glowing now, soft blue light that made the air taste like ozone and possibility. I am going to pick up my sword now, she announced. Anyone who wants to shoot me should probably do it before I touch the handle, because after that, things are going to get weird. 3 soldiers fired. Plasma bolts, armor-piercing rounds, and something that looked like compressed lightning. The sword moved before Mira even touched it, spinning through the air, creating a barrier of folded space that caught the attacks and sent them sideways into the walls. Mira caught the sword mid-spin, and the restaurant disappeared. Not exploded, not destroyed, just disappeared, along with everyone in it. One moment we were in the rusty comet. The next we were standing in a space that was not quite space, filled with colors that were not quite colors, under a sky that was not quite a sky. Where are we? The captain demanded, his voice tight with something that might have been fear. Honestly, no idea. Mira looked around, interested. The sword does this sometimes. I think it is like a pocket dimension or something. Time moves differently here. We could be here for hours and only seconds pass outside. Useful for avoiding annoying situations. The soldiers formed a defensive circle, weapons pointed outward, scanning for threats. There were no threats. Just endless shifting space and the distant sound of something that might have been music or might have been mathematics singing to itself. Here is what is going to happen, Mira said, still holding the sword loosely, like it weighed nothing. You are all going to go back to your commander and tell him that I am not interested in his job offer. Job offer? The captain lowered his weapon slightly. What job offer? Oh, come on. Mira rolled her eyes. You think I believe the supreme military executor of the Kaldrith Third Fleet wants this sword just to have it? He wants someone to use it. Someone expendable. Someone who does not have powerful friends or family who will ask awkward questions when they inevitably get killed doing whatever horrible thing he needs done. Silence. The kind of silence that meant she was absolutely correct. Tell him thanks, but no thanks. I am happy washing dishes. The pay is terrible, but nobody tries to conscript me into galactic warfare, which is a nice perk. He will not accept that answer, the captain said quietly. Then he should have thought about that before sending you. Mira gestured with the sword, and the space around us rippled. Also, you should know that Jasper really does not like people who threaten me. And while we are stuck in this weird dimension place, he has been getting friendlier with the local wildlife. Wildlife? What wildlife? I looked around and saw them. Creatures made of light and geometry, dozens of them, hundreds maybe, all watching us with too many eyes. And Jasper, sitting among them like a tiny furry king, making that chittering sound again. The creatures moved closer. They did not walk. They just were closer than they had been, surrounding the soldiers, examining them with curiosity that felt distinctly predatory. These things live in the space between dimensions, Mira explained conversationally. The sword tells me they are mostly harmless unless they feel threatened, and nothing makes them feel more threatened than violence near their home. So maybe put the weapons down. Just a suggestion. 20 weapons hit the ground almost simultaneously. Smart choice. Mira smiled. Okay. Field trip over. Time to go home. She swung the sword in a wide arc, cutting through reality itself. A portal opened, showing the rusty comet exactly as we had left it. We stepped through, all of us, including the soldiers, and the portal closed behind us. Now, Mira said cheerfully. Who wants to explain to Commander Volkan that his plan failed? The captain hesitated, then did something I did not expect. He laughed. Not a cruel laugh, or a nervous laugh. A genuine laugh of disbelief. You really are just a dishwasher who happened to find a sword, are you not? Yep. Mira picked up her sandwich again. Though technically the sword found me. I just wanted kitchen directions. Commander Volkan will not be pleased. Commander Volkan can file a complaint with station management. She took a bite of sandwich. Now, if you do not mind, my break is over in 5 minutes, and I still have the dinner prep dishes to wash. The soldiers left, just left, walked back to their boarding pods, radioed their ships, and withdrew. The entire fleet pulled back from the station and jumped to hyperspace within the hour. I stood there, equipment in hand, trying to process what had just happened. A military fleet had been turned away by a dishwasher with a magic sword and an aggressive pet. Why did they leave? I asked. They had overwhelming force. They could have destroyed the entire station. Mira shrugged. Because Commander Volkan is not stupid. He saw what the sword can do, realized that trying to take it by force would cost him more than it was worth, and decided to cut his losses. Smart guy, really. I respect that. And if someone less smart comes after you, then Jasper will make more friends and I will have to find a new place to wash dishes. She went back to the sink. But honestly, I am getting tired of people trying to kill me. I have been thinking about leaving Helix 9. Maybe find somewhere quieter. A nice agricultural planet. Somewhere with actual dirt and plants and no criminal syndicates. With the sword. Well, yeah, the boss sword comes with me. We are bonded or whatever. But I figure if I am on a farm planet growing vegetables, nobody is going to care about ancient weapons. They will care about crop yields and soil quality. Jasper climbed back onto the counter, looking satisfied with himself. He had definitely bitten at least 6 soldiers, maybe 7. I had lost count. You realize, I said slowly, that you have become the most dangerous being on this station. Possibly in this entire sector. With that sword, you could do anything. Topple governments, conquer systems, tear holes in reality large enough to swallow stars. Yeah, but that sounds like a lot of work. She scrubbed at another plate. And I would have to give up dishwashing. I actually like dishwashing. It is simple. Plate is dirty, you clean it. Plate is clean. None of this complicated morality or politics, or people trying to murder you for your stuff. Just clean dishes. That is genuinely insane. Probably. She smiled at me. But I am human. We are all a little insane. It is what makes us interesting. Over the following weeks, I continued my observations. Mira finished her contract at the Rusty Comet, collected her final paycheck, and bought passage on a transport heading to a farming colony in the Outer Rim. She packed her few belongings, the sword, and Jasper into a small bag and left Helix 9 without fanfare. Before she departed, she found me in the observation lounge. Hey, she said, dropping into a seat next to me. I wanted to say thanks. For what? I did nothing except document your activities. Exactly. You watched. You recorded. You took me seriously. She looked out at the stars beyond the viewport. Most people see a human and think we are weak or stupid or reckless. You saw me as a person making choices, even if those choices were weird. That means something. Your choices were extremely weird, I confirmed. Fair. She stood up, adjusted the sword on her back. It was in a makeshift sheath now, wrapped in cloth that probably violated several safety regulations. If you ever want to visit, I will be on Green Hollow Station working at a vertical farm. No criminals, no weapons dealers, just plants and dirt and honest work. I might take you up on that offer, I said, for research purposes. Sure. Research. She grinned. Take care, Vorkith. And remember, if your reports make me sound too scary, nobody will believe you. She was wrong about that. My reports were filed with the Galactic Concordance, flagged with every warning marker available, and distributed to military intelligence across 17 species. The response was unanimous. Avoid Mira Kane. Do not attempt to acquire the Blade of Torn Skies. Do not threaten the honey badger. 3 months later, I received a message. A simple video file. It showed Mira in farming coveralls, covered in dirt, holding a basket of what appeared to be tomatoes. Jasper was in the background, terrorizing what might have been local wildlife. She was smiling. "Hey Vorkith," she said to the camera. "Thought you would want to know I am still alive. The sword is great for cutting through tough roots, and Jasper has made friends with the chickens, by which I mean he steals their eggs and they have given up trying to stop him. Life is good. Also, turns out the blade of torn skies can open portals to really good fishing spots. Who knew? Come visit sometime. The tomatoes are excellent." The video ended. I filed my final report on Mira. Subject continues to exist in defiance of all logical probability. Continues to use reality-warping ancient weapon for agricultural purposes. Threat level remains catastrophic but largely theoretical. Recommend continued observation from a safe distance. But I added one more note, off the record, just for myself. Humans, when given ultimate power, sometimes choose to wash dishes and grow vegetables. This is why they are terrifying. Not because of what they might do with power, but because they might do nothing with it at all except live simple, happy lives while the rest of the galaxy tears itself apart trying to understand them. Mira taught me that, the girl who was supposed to die, who held a sword that could destroy reality, who had a honey badger for a friend, and who just wanted to wash dishes. The galaxy was a stranger place than I had ever imagined, and somewhere on Green Hollow Station, a human was growing tomatoes with a weapon that gods would fear. I hope she makes good salsa.